Come on. We will win. Because we will hit all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. Because we are the best on the field. And we hit the field light, all day light, all night light, on the blue light, offense light, defense light, this squad light, house call light, and the sound light, and the sound light, and the sound light.
Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I am your host, Daniel Short. Today is September 28th, 2016. And it is another jam-packed show for us. We have a ton to talk about. New sponsors on the show. We have best of the week sounds from this week's games of college football and the NFL, as well as Major League Baseball. We just have a ton to talk about. You even got some NBA news to talk about as we will be getting ready. The season is just a little less than a month away. And as you guys know, the show is now sponsored, or not sponsored, but partnered with the National Basketball Association. We'll be covering some NBA games throughout the season, creating a new show as well. So we're going to get ramp up for that. And just a lot to talk about. But first, I want to do a new thing this week. It is Best of the Week Sounds, covering all of college football games, NFL games, some of the best sounds of the week, as well as a moment of silence for Miami Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez and golf legend Arnold Palmer.
Well, double stack wide receivers on first down. And a shot off the bat to start the game. In stride, Rodney Adams. One play, touchdown. Dalvin Cook on first down has a lane. Breaks a tackle. One snap for South Florida, one snap for Florida State. Touchdown. How about that? Xavier Marks from the 25. Nice vision. Marks to the 40. Looking for a block. He's got it. He's got help. Xavier Marks got to beat the punter. He beat the punter. Touchdown, Alabama. 75-yard return. He's going to throw a fade to the end zone and a jump ball caught by Williams. Touchdown.
See this game here, there's a lot more of TCU purple. Kenny Hill on first down. Diarst snares it and breaks a tackle. And John Diarst on the first play of the second half will take it to the house. 75 yards. TCU touchdown.
King from the 2. Has the edge and has the 20. Across the 30, midfield 40. Derek King all the way to the end zone. His third touchdown of the game, and he's done it in 3 different ways.
From the backfield. Fires it inside. Oh, there goes T.Y. Hilton. It's a foot race. And there he goes. Touchdown. Just a 41-yard attempt. Zero chasing after the ball. It's still loose. And then picked up by Aaron Williams. And Williams will take it all the way.
In 10. To see our first carry to Michael. Sprinting through the hole. Christian Michael. Touchdown. 5 receivers. Roll out in the pattern. Over the middle. It's caught inside the 5. Is Bryant. Touchdown, Cowboys. DeMarco Murray. Reversing field at the 5. Gags. Touchdown, Tennessee. First rushing touchdown of the season for the Titans. And it goes to DeMarco Murray. Pryor takes the snap, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland.
Dodgers and Rockies. Oh, and 1 to Charlie. Swung on a high fly ball to deep left field. The Dodger bench empties. Would you believe a home run? And the Dodgers have clinched the division and will celebrate on schedule.
Gordon has started to look like the D. Gordon of last year. Gordon to right. It's deep. And it's gone! D. Gordon has hit it out. And the Marlins have a 1-0 lead.
Professional triple ever. Somebody helping you out tonight?
Man, I told the boys, if y'all don't believe in God, y'all might as well start. I don't have kids, so that's the best moment of my life to hit a home run for him.
And you end up winning the ball.
So how do you guys like that? I like it. I think it's a neat little thing that I'm putting together. Came out pretty nice. I absolutely love it. Like I said, we've got some new sponsors to the show. First, you guys already know Intergrind. It has just been awesome to see Intergrind. And now, guess what? Your boy has got a Gold's Gym membership. We're moving up in the world. So thankfully, I'll actually be able to do the workouts that I was supposed to be doing for a long time. Because my apartment gym is just terrible. There's nothing there. So now there's no excuses. I have a gym, and I have time to actually go. Now is the time, and you should do the same. Go to Intergrind. Check out the workouts, whether you're in the Houston area or not. Also, we have Tongue FM. Tongue FM is a podcast player designed to help you discover the best podcasts. With Tongue, you can get the feed of what your friends are recommending. You can share clips of podcasts through Twitter, Facebook, all social media. It is just a great app to find different podcasts. You can find out all the great podcasts out there without relying on iTunes reviews and all that other stuff. So check out Tongue FM. That's TUNG.FM and search Tongue FM in the App Store. The new one is an exciting one. It is Sleeves. Sleefs. You might have already heard of them. You should have already heard of them by now. Sleeve designs and produces custom compression gear, everything from arm and leg sleeves to headbands, bandanas, t-shirts, jerseys. Sleeves carries over 200 different designs and sizes for everyone, from kids to adults. And once you purchase your sleeve product, make sure you take a picture of it using Instagram or Twitter, any type of social media, and use the hashtag SleevesMe. That's SLEEFS, me, M-E, and get a chance to be featured on their Facebook page. So go to www.sleeves.com and follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Sleeves. I'm going to have to talk to my head coach, see if we can get some Sleeves gear, some swag for our team. It'd be nice. Again, it's all custom made for your team. It looks really nice. You get your name, number, a specific design, a specific logo, and just a whole lot of other really cool stuff. They're actually shipping some stuff over to the Short Sports Show, so we'll be getting some custom gear here pretty soon. I'm excited for it. Again, Sleeves, SLEEFS. Very awesome company. Now, you guys already know the major story in college football is LSU. Now, they fired both Les Miles and Cam Cameron on Sunday afternoon, and they named Ed Orgeron the new interim head coach for the rest of the season. Kind of sounds familiar, right? Now, the New Orleans Times reported earlier Tuesday that it was Orgeron that actually made the call on Cam Cameron getting fired. LSU was actually just wanting to fire Les Miles, and that was it. They were going to let Orgeron make any other changes. They didn't call for Cam Cameron's firing. Ed Orgeron did. And he said there's going to be tweaks to this offense immediately. How much you can really game plan for a brand new offense, it's in such a short amount of time, especially with a big change like this. Probably not going to see a huge tweak, but maybe just in the way the play calling is made is what we'll see. Now, this comes one day after LSU lost to Auburn when the referees overruled that what appeared to be a game-winning touchdown for LSU. Replay showed that LSU did not start the final play before the clock hit 0. And so it ends at 1 second. Imagine that 1 second can end a 12-year career. Just like that. Just like that. Now, Miles and a lot of people expected LSU to contend for a national championship, but now after a 2-2 start, it brought up a thing where LSU sources were saying that they were worried that Les Miles was going to be leading this program into somewhat of a circle where you would have LSU highly ranked, very hyped up, very in a position to contend for a national championship, and then fall a couple games in and then start winning, then lose a game. Win 2 games, lose a game, and 2 games, and just kind of a cycle of not exceeding expectations, which is kind of hard when you're winning 10-plus games and contending still for a SEC championship, yet that will make you lose your job after 12 years. And so LSU said, no, we need to just end it now, and that's why they said right after the loss, it was over with, they cut it. So now where does LSU go from here? I mean, I don't know if we should blame Les Miles because, again, he posted a 75-18 record in his career in his first 7 seasons, at LSU. 41-15 in SEC play. That included 3 SEC West titles, 2 SEC championships, a BCS championship, and another title game appearance. Now, it seemed like it all went downhill when that second BCS championship appearance against Alabama, when they lost 21-0, it's kind of when everything just went down. I mean, LSU finished the game with 92 yards of total offense. 92 yards. The worst offensive performance in college football BCS championship history. And it seemed ever since where that's kind of just LSU went down. Now, they continue to be high ranked. They would pull in top recruiting class. I mean, just last year, they pulled in the number 3 recruiting class, according to ESPN. They hired Wisconsin's defensive coordinator, Dave Aranda. And the defenses look pretty solid this year, given the way the offense is played. And it's really shocking that all that talent in the state of Louisiana, Les Miles has failed to get a top quarterback, because that's been ever since Jefferson. They really haven't had a quarterback, and he wasn't even that great. I mean, he's you can't say he's not good because he led them to a national championship. But ever since then, they haven't had anybody. Brandon Harris showed early in week 2, every week. It just showed why he wasn't that good. And then Danny Eltine stepped in. He kind of, it looked a little bit more positive with him at quarterback. Still wasn't enough. Still wasn't enough to keep Les Miles' job. Now, Ed Orgeron, he takes over, at least for right now. And again, it sounds familiar because he's been in this position before. He was at USC. Took over. He went 6-2 in the final 8 games at USC as interim head coach. USC made the stupid decision not to hire him, even though the players loved him, and he obviously did a really great job. They let him go. Now he's back at LSU, where, he began his collegiate career as a lineman at LSU. It seems like it would all go in his favor, but where is the standard? Where is the spot that says, all right, Ed Orgeron, you have to do this in order to keep the job? Because everybody's calling for Tom Herman, Jimbo Fisher, Mike Gundy, Art Briles, Gary Patterson. Everybody's calling for all these big-time names to come to LSU, and a lot of LSU fans and supporters expect to bring in someone that big. But what does that mean for Orgeron? Now the pressure's on him, because you could start winning. You could go 6-2, and you might still not get the job. I don't expect it. We're going to talk about here in just a second who LSU should hire, or, who will they hire. I don't see Herman coming. I don't see Fisher coming. Definitely not Gary Patterson. There are a few other coaches out there. But what is next for LSU? What is next for LSU? Who do they hire? What's next for Les Miles? You got 2 options, really. He could sit out, even though he's already made a statement he's not. But, for him sitting out, it's really like TV. ESPN would hire him in a second. They bring him in. He gets a chance to reevaluate. I don't want to go too philosophical, but he's got a chance to reevaluate his life, his other coaching opportunities. There's going to be some big schools coming up with coaching jobs. You could potentially have USC, Penn State, If Jimbo Fisher does go to LSU, you can have Florida State open. You have Baylor open. You can have Oklahoma might be open. If they open up the season 1-4, 1-5 this season, is Bob Stoops. He hasn't won a big game in 10 years. Is he out? I mean, you have some big openings potentially at the end of the season. Oregon might even be open. I doubt they hire Les Miles. I'm not saying that's where he can go, but you have some big openings potentially this season. Or does he just go ahead and go straight into the coaching? Just go right back. He says he wants to go win it. He doesn't see himself anywhere else other than back on the coaching field. I don't know. It's going to be exciting, but definitely interesting to see where LSU works with Ed Orgeron and how the players and recruiting goes with LSU now that there's a new head coach for the first time in 12 years. It's crazy. I was shocked. I was personally shocked that they fired Les Miles. Now, I understand the reason, but I also think it's very quick after a 2-2 start in the SEC, especially right now. I mean, there's other than A&M and Alabama, that's it. Ole Miss is not there. Tennessee's not there. Florida's not there. I mean, LSU has a chance. They play both A&M and Alabama. What if they went on a winning streak and just won the SEC just that way? Win the SEC West, go on to the SEC the SEC championship, and take on somebody from there. Take on Tennessee. Take on Florida. Pretty solid, but not enough. Cam Cameron, the firing, I'm not shocked by that. I mean, it's been a long time coming. All right, let's be honest. It's been a long time coming for him to be fired. But I don't know. Now, for LSU's side, who do they hire? Now, major media, everyone is calling Tom Herman, Jimbo Fisher, Gary Patterson, my TCU Gary Patterson. I'm just go straight in it. I don't see Tom Herman leaving Houston at any job at this point. And there's multiple reasons. One, he's not getting a pay raise. I mean, he's getting close to, if not $5 million a year at Houston. And now we have a little bit of back and forth between the Big 12 expansion. But if it does happen and Houston does get into the Big 12, he gets an additional $5 million. Just like that. An additional $5 million just for getting in the power conference. If he gets him in the playoffs, that's another additional $1 to $2 million. And with that, he's Houston's savior. He gets the key to the city, and he's from the state of Texas, ladies and gentlemen. I don't believe Tom Herman. I truly do not believe that Tom Herman views Houston, the Houston job, as a stepping stone. I believe he sees it as a destination. Not to say that, he doesn't ever think about, okay, what if USC came open? Now that LSU is open, maybe. I just think, but at the end of the day, he views looking at Houston is where I want to be. Houston is where I want to raise my family. Houston is a great program where he's got it right now. More athletic money's coming in. More fan support is happening. I don't expect him to leave. I mean, what's the difference between $5 million a year and $7 million? What is $2 million extra dollars, and this is before taxes, going to buy you? What is $2 extra million going to buy you when you're already making $5 million a year? And then you also, I think I must be the only one that looks at, actually I'll save this for the other one. Now, Jimbo Fisher. Now, he's been the assistant at LSU, so, people and it seemed like he was pretty serious about getting the job last season had LSU fired Les Miles. Now, in my opinion, Jimbo Fisher would be dumb to leave Florida State for LSU. Multiple reasons. And this is no hate against LSU. I grew up when I first got into college football. When I first played my first college football game, I played as LSU. I was a fan of LSU. I like LSU to this day. I like them. But here's my point, and this is what I look at. Maybe it's just me, because I feel like anytime I talk about a coaching job or a player, free agent signing, anytime I talk to anybody about it, I never hear this from anybody else. And I'm always the one to talk about it, say it. And then when I say it, most people kind of just ignore it. But I ask myself, if I'm offered a job as a player, as a coach, as a broadcaster, I'm looking at where that job is located, right? Everyone wants to look at the big name. Everyone wants to look at the money. I mean, if I'm Jimbo Fisher, do I want to leave Tallahassee, Florida, the state of Florida, for Baton Rouge, Louisiana? No disrespect, but there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between living in Florida and Louisiana. I'd like to stay in Florida. I would. Me personally. Got the beach, pretty women, nice weather, other than the humidity, but I mean, you're going to get that in Louisiana anyways. That's me. Florida is where I would like to be. And plus Florida State, and we'll get into the football side of it, the sports perspective, but it's going to be much harder to win at LSU than it is at Florida State. Now, this season, it's a little hard to say that because of the fact that the SEC has kind of dropped off and the ACC has rose up with Clemson, Louisville, and a few other squads. But historically, the past few years, it's all Florida State. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, what about recruiting? In Louisiana, you're the big school in the state. In Florida, you got University of Florida. You have now Miami coming back up. But as we've seen, Florida State's been able to get whoever they want, even with the rise of Miami and, I mean, somewhat the fall of it. But and with Florida being good the past few years, they've still been able to get anybody they want. At LSU, yeah, you're the big dog in the state, but look at every major Texas school. They are recruiting from Louisiana. They are pulling. And LSU, here's my biggest thing is that they have yet, just like I said earlier, you have all that talent in Louisiana, and they failed to get a top quarterback, to produce a collegiate quarterback that can throw the ball more than 25 yards and not throw a pick in every single game. Florida State, I mean, where do you want to start at the quarterback position the past few years? It's been star quarterback after star quarterback after star. Christian Ponder was even a star quarterback. Got him a first-round pick. So, if I'm looking at it, if I'm Jimbo Fisher, why? And I get you want to go back to LSU and you like Louisiana, going on, but it's going to be harder to recruit at LSU, even though they're still able to get who they want. But it's going to be so much easier to win at Florida State, and you're at a good spot anyways at Florida State. Why leave to LSU? Now, he already said, quote, I'm not talking about LSU. No, I haven't had any contact. I'm not going to talk about it. We're talking about North Carolina. That's what he said this week at his press conference. He was an assistant beginning in 2000 with Nick Saban. He won the national championship in 2003, as an offensive coordinator. And then in 2007, he left to be the head coach in waiting at Florida State, in which he did. I'm not going to talk about Gary Patterson because Gary Patterson isn't leaving TCU. It's always funny to see his name. If he didn't leave for USC, if he didn't leave for Texas, if he didn't leave for all the other big jobs, Penn State and all them, why in God's name is he going to leave TCU for LSU? Not being a fan biased here. I'm just being serious. He's got to make it at TCU. So who are the other options? You possibly could have Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's ready to take a head coaching job. He could pull a Kirby Smart, become a Saban assistant to a head coach in the SEC. He could do that. LSU would most likely hire him because they're in need of some type of offensive renovation, if you want to call it that. Also, I don't want to say a popular pick, but you have Art and/or Kendall Briles. Now, there's a little bit of an issue with that. Now, me personally, I like to see Kendall Briles go to LSU. One, it gets him out of Baylor, in which I expect him to do anyways after this season. But LSU, I mean, they're looking for an offense. You have Dave Aranda's defense. Now, imagine LSU with a Baylor type of offense. Pretty exciting. That's what I see. But the problem with Briles going to LSU, with any Briles, is that the athletic director at LSU right now, which let's not say he's not, necessarily safe. He could always get fired as well. They could just clear house immediately. And that also affects the coaching job because then you might get hired and then have a new boss shortly after. So who knows? But right now, the athletic director at LSU, he was the athletic director at Duke when Duke had that lacrosse scandal. Now, I doubt LSU fans, administration, boosters, faculty members want to deal with someone who's already been in a situation of a scandal and then hire someone who had a pretty major scandal just recently. So maybe Art Browse doesn't go. Maybe Kendall Browse. Chip Kelly, maybe? I mean, I'm not just throwing smoke or anything, but I'm just saying if 49ers don't work out, and USC was so stupid not to even interview Chip Kelly. God, that was so stupid. Maybe LSU. Maybe he goes to LSU. I'm just throwing out there other names. Mike Gundy from Oklahoma State, former assistant as well at LSU. Maybe he goes. I don't know. I wanted to pick Bryles, but now I forgot about the athletic director. Probably not going to go there. I'm going to wait on who I pick, but I want to know who you guys think will take the LSU job. Maybe it's Ed Orgeron. Maybe he's already there. Maybe it's that's the guy. Now, moving on. Again, we have a lot to talk about. We got a lot of news. It's going to be a much longer show, and I'm sorry about that, but it just is. The next thing is Notre Dame unpopular? I don't want to set anybody off here, but Notre Dame fired their defensive coordinator, Brian Van Gorder, after a 1-3 start. Now, fired Irish head coach Brian Kelly has turned to a fresh set of eyes and hoping to fix whatever he possibly can with this defense. This defense has allowed 149 points through a 1-3 start, the most points in the program has ever given up in its first 4 games. Notre Dame is now 1-5 in the past 6 games, dating back to last season, with its only win coming in week 2 over Nevada this season. And the Irish have allowed 206 points in those 5 losses. They rank currently 103rd nationally in total defense, 101st in scoring defense, 104th in yards per play, and 96th in rushing defense and 87th in passing defense. Yikes. It's not good. Now, but I want to throw this out there because Notre Dame shouldn't struggle. Brian Kelly is not a bad coach. He's a very good coach. And I don't believe he deserves to be on any hot seat. But the thing is Notre Dame becoming unpopular to a lot of, high school athletes? Or is it just too hard for student athletes to get in, those top rated athletes to get into this very prestigious university, and therefore they're not going to be able to recruit the same as, say, Alabama? You can have the prestige up there at the same ranks, but you're not able to get the same players because you're at a disadvantage in a way because you are not able to get the recruit that doesn't meet the academic requirements. Now, Notre Dame standards are above minimum set by the NCAA. Notre Dame has a reputation for being among the most rigorous of competitive Division I schools, programs, surpassed by only Stanford, which kind of hurts this argument because you see Stanford able to still recruit some top players, Christian McCaffrey, and still compete for a national championship. The university is also pulls more students from academically elite private and Catholic schools, which is perhaps their biggest differentiator, according to Alan Trieu, a recruiting analyst at Scout.com. Now, for instance, like we talked about, you have the powerhouse of Alabama, right? They only require one foreign language course, less rigorous math, and sticks to the NCAA requirement that students must hit a 2.0 around their junior year. Just a 2.0. Notre Dame, it's just a tad bit higher. Just a tad bit higher. So does that, obviously that affects recruiting and who you could get, but is it also starting to affect now you start seeing Notre Dame start dropping off and not winning as much in the past 2 years of just what's going on with the program? Are student athletes starting to view Notre Dame as unpopular, as an unpopular school to pick? I don't necessarily think it's too unpopular. I mean, I've always liked Notre Dame, but it is definitely getting tougher and tougher for them to start recruiting. That shouldn't be a bad I don't think they should lower the academic requirements too low, but at the same time, you gotta help yourself out if you want to be a top program. But then Stanford on the other side of the coast, they're doing a pretty good job. And they have a higher, they're surpassed by Stanford right now in everything. So now we have the back and forth and back and forth and back and forth of the Big 12. Great old Big 12. There's been thousands of videos. We've talked about this hundreds of times of the Big 12 expanding, whether or not it's actually going to happen. Well, it looked pretty certain that it's going to happen at some point here pretty soon. And now it's back and forth again because it looks like it hit a little snag with a surprisingly the biggest supporter. Oklahoma President David Boren, he's now switching it up. He's switching it up, saying, quote, or this is what one of the writers at Sports Illustrated reported, Boren, quote, has come full circle on his expansion beliefs, adding another layer of uncertainty to the already muddled Big 12 expansion exploration process, end quote. Now, the Big 12 Board of Directors, they're scheduled to still have their meeting October 17th where they will discuss expansion, and that's where the vote was supposed to happen. That's where it's supposed to take place. Again, for any member that was going to be added, they needed 8 of the 10 votes to join, to be added to the conference. But now it appears that Boren's new stance reflects the views of OU's Board of Regents, who are not in favor of expansion. It was just Boren who was. And this could be the reason behind all of this could be because of the fact that, well, Oklahoma, they're not doing so hot, and they could be in a pretty bad situation here soon. And this is a bad thing because, as we talked about with Tom Herman, the reason why he wouldn't leave Houston, well, now it gives it a reason of maybe he would if he can't get into a power conference, because the SEC isn't going to add Houston. They have A&M for that somewhat market. You're not going to add the ACC is not going to add them. Big Ten's not going to add them. Pac-12 won't add them. So they're out. They're out of hope. And this would be the worst case scenario for them, and as well as Cincinnati, because apparently, even though we thought it'd be great, West Virginia gets to partner up with Cincinnati. They have an East Coast partner. Great. Well, apparently West Virginia doesn't want Cincinnati because while it would help them in travel, they're saying they're going to adjust just fine to the travel because they don't want another East Coast school, in close proximity, to start taking some recruits and being as the same level as West Virginia would be. So that is a problem. Now, CBS Sports' Dennis Dodd reported back in June that there was upwards of $1 billion on the table if the Big 12 expanded. Ladies and gentlemen, $1 billion for the conference. Now, even if that was negotiated down between the Big 12 and its television partners of ESPN and Fox, it'd be a huge increase for Cincinnati and Houston and the amount of money they're making with the AAC television contracts and bowl payouts. So would Tom Herman stay if the Big 12 doesn't add Houston? I mean, Herman's the biggest name. Herman gets $5 million bonus if Houston is promoted to a Power 5 conference. And really, it's if they are promoted to the Big 12. Now it's all in shaking. And then Boren came out right after everybody had been writing stories and talking about the Big 12 now not expanding and him switching his views. He came out and said, I don't know where everybody's getting this from. We haven't made our decision. We haven't taken a stance on whether we're going to expand or not, or whether we're in favor or not. So now it's back and forth again. So honestly, for the question if the Big 12 is going to expand, I'm not even going to answer it because no one knows. You can read every article from every single writer of every major media outlet, and it's just going to be opinions. There are no more facts. There are no more stats. There's nothing else any of us media could give you to come to a conclusion of, yes, the Big 12 will expand. No, they won't. Because it's all going to be fine. We're all going to find out at the same time, October 17th, when they will vote, when they will discuss expansion. And honestly, I'm not even getting my hopes up that it's going to happen October 17th, on even if we find out if they even talk expansion. I wouldn't be surprised. They're like, no, let's just wait until the end of the season. Let's figure out where Oklahoma's at. Let's figure out where Texas is at, Baylor and TCU and West Virginia, see if they're any good, what's going on. We just don't want to talk about it. I don't know. It's crazy. It's back and forth. I still want the Big 12 to expand. But then again, part of me is just like, I don't even care anymore. Let it crumble, because there's no one they can add. If they don't expand now, they're waiting until the 2024-2025 year, and when those contracts run out, and then poof, Big 12 is gone. Because there's no one they can get. They can't go and get Florida State anymore. They can't get Miami. They can't get Clemson. They can't poke the ACC anymore. They can't go get Nebraska back. They're not going to get A&M back. They're not going to get Colorado, Missouri. The expansion would be done with if they don't expand, if they don't approve teams October 17th. It's done. Finally, a little bit, last bit of college football news before we move on. And we'll make our picks here too. Let's see. Texas starting offensive lineman Kent Perkins. He's going to serve a 1-game suspension following his arrest last week on a charge of driving while intoxicated. Charlie Strong announced on Monday. So he's not going to play against Oklahoma State on Saturday. And he's actually going to undergo counseling and perform community service, which would be good. He was arrested during Texas bye week last early Friday morning following a single vehicle collision near campus. Michigan defensive back Jeremy Clark will miss the remainder of the season with a torn ACL. He injured his knee in the second half of Michigan's 49-10 victory over Penn State on Saturday. He started all 4 games this season, recording 10 tackles and 3 pass breakups. Now, Jim Harbaugh did say that the team would explore option of petitioning the NCAA to get Clark a 6th year of eligibility. Now, the AP poll, we're not going to talk about too much about it because none of it really changed. The top 8 stayed the same of Alabama, Ohio State, Louisville, Michigan, Clemson, Houston, Stanford, Wisconsin. I think Washington and Texas A&M, they just switched spots. Baylor moved up to 13. Miami's 14. TCU got back in it. They're now 21. San Diego State is 19. Boise State's in it now, number 24. Somehow Georgia's still in there at 25. Yeah, they're just being nice. They're just being nice. All righty. Prediction time. Thursday, we have UConn taking on Houston. Let's go Houston. Friday is going to be a great game. Great game. And we have our bye week this week, so I'm going to be able to actually Friday. Yeah, I'll make it back in time. Friday, it is number 7 Stanford taking on number 10 Washington, the Huskies, 8 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. I am rocking with my Huskies all the way. I'm going with the Huskies. And also, in case you didn't know, Stanford has lost both of their starting cornerbacks are out for this game due to injury. And they lost a fullback. So, and they've already been banged up previously. So I'm taking the Huskies all the way. On Saturday, we have Florida Vanderbilt going with Florida, Baylor, Iowa State, Baylor, Alcorn State taking on Arkansas, going with Arkansas, Texas going against Oklahoma State. I wanted to rock with Oklahoma State for this pick, but they played Baylor pretty good, and Baylor showed that, all right, they still got it. They still got it. I think Texas with the bye week, and Oklahoma State starting to show a lot more flaws from ever since the Central Michigan game. Against Pittsburgh and against Baylor, they showed some flaws and they played some tough games. I'm taking Texas here. That game is at 11 a.m. Central Time on ABC. Rutgers, Ohio State going with Ohio State. Miami, Georgia Tech going Miami. North Carolina going against Florida State going Florida State. Wisconsin, Michigan. That's going to be a really good game. I'm taking Michigan, though. I am taking Michigan. 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. Illinois, Nebraska, going with Nebraska. Tennessee, Georgia, going Tennessee. A&M against South Carolina, going with A&M. Oklahoma taking on my TCU Horned Frogs at 4 p.m. Central Time on Fox. I want to take my Frogs so bad, and I'm still going to because I'm a TCU fan. It'd be stupid if I didn't. But it's either the offense starts strong in the first. Actually, no, they haven't at all this whole season. So, no. Oklahoma had a bye week this past week. They had all week to get ready for TCU. TCU defense has stepped it up tremendously since the Arkansas game, which has been great. Sad part is the offense has been very slow and very inconsistent. I think Kenny Hill is actually, even though he's been good in the second half, he's been great in the second half. I think he's thrown a pick in every single game this season. So that's not really that good. Oklahoma again had a week to prepare. So, if TCU wins, I see a field goal. If we lose, I see, probably like 10 or 17 points. Utah going against California, going with Utah. Memphis against Ole Miss, going with Ole Miss. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ole Miss here. I wanted to go with Memphis, but no. Kentucky, Alabama. Somehow this is a primetime game on ESPN. Yeah, Kentucky against Alabama. Going with Bama. San Diego State taking on South Alabama, going with San Diego State. Louisville versus Clemson. Yes, sir. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Heisman hopefuls, Heisman leader right now, Lamar Jackson, taking on Deshaun Watson. Woo, it's going to be good. It's at Death Valley at 7 p.m. Central Time on ABC. I am taking Clemson here because I want chaos. I want chaos, and then I want Florida State to beat Clemson because that would be awesome. I want major chaos. Just as a fan, that's going to be fun. If Louisville loses to Clemson, Clemson beats Florida State, and then Clemson loses to Florida State, you have those three teams tied at one with one loss. Woo! That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun, especially with that new rule they passed where they're going to have a statistic company pick out who's going to play in the ACC championship if that situation happens. Can you imagine? As a coach, as a player, to find out you could play very well at the end of the year, but your one loss comes to one of those teams, and you find out that you're not making the ACC championship game because some statistic company is saying you don't deserve to be in it. Oh, woo! Man, talk about chaos. I want to see it happen. Again, this is a toss-up. Louisville could easily win this game, just like I don't think they'll dominate Clemson the way they did against Florida State. Florida State's a lot weaker than Clemson is, even though I'm picking Clemson to beat or lose to Florida State. But it would just it's I don't know. I don't want to pick this game at all, honestly. I'm going to go Clemson here just because I like Deshaun Watson more and I like the Clemson Tigers, but it's going to be a very good game. Michigan State going against Indiana, going with Michigan State. And then finally, Utah State taking on Boise State at 9:15 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. I am rocking with them Boise State Broncos. They've looked really well. Actually, yesterday, I was going somewhere, but right before I did, I started watching their game against Oregon State. It was a pretty good game. And I just got this email finally into the show about sleeves. We're going to talk about it one more time, and it's because it's something special. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Sleeves it has the coolest collection of compression gear around. They really do. Get compression sleeves in over 200 designs to match your teammates and uniforms. Check out the huge selection of styles and sizes or order something custom for your team at Sleeves. That's SLEEFS. This is where it gets good, ladies and gentlemen. Get 20% off plus free shipping on purchase of $50 or more when you use the promo code. You ready for it? Short Sports. That's what it is. Short Sports is the promo code. Visit Sleeves, spelled SLEEFS.com today and use the promo code Short Sports to get 20% off plus free shipping on purchases of $50 or more. Do it today. That's awesome. I got my own promo code. And you know what? I might go and use my own promo code right after the show just because I'm feeling a little bit generous. I'm a little bit broke, but I'm feeling a little bit generous, and I might just do it because why not have some compression gear? I mean, again, you can get headbands, bandanas, T-shirts, jerseys, arm and leg sleeves. It doesn't matter. They got everything. Custom made for you and your team. Short Sports is the promo code, 20% off, plus free shipping on purchases of $50 or more today. Check it out. Also, check out Intergrind.
Today's show is sponsored by Intergrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? And whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with Intergrind. Not a Houston area, not a problem. Intergrind has a program that is personalized just for you. Intergrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at intergrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's intergrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking to a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something.
All right, we're moving on to the NFL, and we have the biggest news, and that's Texans defensive end J.J. Watt. He re-injured his back and will be placed on injured reserve today. Now, Watt will be eligible to return to practice after 6 weeks on IR, and then game action when he could come back and actually play in 8 weeks, meaning he could be back on November 27th against, of course, out of all the teams, San Diego Chargers. Yeah, my team. Woo! Awesome news, right? Feels great. Now, however, a team source told ESPN's Ed Warner that, quote, I do believe that he will miss the season, but with the new rule this year, he will be, if he were healthy in December, he could come off IR, but it's a long shot. Now, the Texans, they re-signed defensive end Antonio Smith in Watt's place to help get some depth there. Now, Watt, he's missed all of training camp and the preseason after he had surgery on his herniated disc back in July. The three-time Defensive Player of the Year and four-time Pro Bowler played part of last season through the injury. Now, before aggravating it in late off-season, he also had surgery in January to repair 5 torn core muscles. I mean, damn. Now, before J.J. Watt's arrival in Houston, the Texans never made the playoffs, and they had the 5th worst record in the NFL. I mean, since his arrival, the Texans have won 3 division titles in 2 playoff games. Their record of 44-39 in 2011 is tied with the Colts as the best in the AFC South, which, I mean, it's not. It's like, 5 games above 500? It's, But, with this, and I give you that stat because of the fact that, since its arrival, they were nothing. They have been nothing. And to the point, they've only won, 2 playoff games. It's obviously a process, but is the season over for the Houston Texans now that J.J. Watt's gone? Brock Osweiler started off strong and has kind of shown some inconsistency. A lot of it. Will Fuller has showed he's right now is leading as the Rookie of the Year. He's absolutely leading it. Even though I think Sterling Shepard, he'll get it back. But it's starting, is that going to become a problem with J.J. Watt? If he does miss the rest of the season, do they have enough talent to group around and go 100% and be able to win the AFC South? And people are going to say, well, they do have a lot of talent. They should be able to get it done. It's different when you have a double team on J.J. Watt about 90% of the time. That's not the actual percentage, but I'm guessing it's somewhere up there. And it's pretty easy to have other guys fill in some other gaps, move around, make offenses confused when you're double teaming the best player. And sometimes that double team doesn't even work, and J.J. Watt still gets through. So, can the Texans still win the AFC South? Absolutely. The Colts are a little shaky. They shouldn't have even beat the Chargers, and that says something. Jaguars have just been, I don't know. They played week 1 really great, even though they lost, and then they've been terrible since. Titans, same thing, pretty bad. Texans can still win the AFC South. They might be 7-9 when they do it. It still gets them in the playoffs. And hopefully by then they can make some noise. And maybe by then J.J. Watt can actually come back and would be perfect timing. But is the season over for the Texans or is it too early to call? I mean, it's only going to be week 4? Yeah, we're fine. Another thing is there too big of an ego for Odell Beckham Jr.? Now, granted, we all have an ego. It's how we control it is, how we're viewed. And Odell Beckham, it's hard not to have an ego when you're Odell Beckham. I mean, you have the big catch. You have the one-handed catches, everything and it being really good. I mean, he's not just made, famous because of the catches. He's actually a pretty good receiver, in case you didn't know. But him slamming his helmet against the kicking net, which, God, that was kind of funny. But I feel bad because you're already frustrated with how the game's going, and you're going against Josh Norman. He's probably talking crap. I mean, one of the first drives, Josh Norman picks up Odell Beckham and carries him a few yards. Or not a few yards, but like a yard or two, right? And you're already frustrated. And then you hit the kicking net and it comes back and, that must have hurt too. But anyways, new head coach Ben McAdoo says he wants his star wide receiver to, quote, become less of a distraction so the team's efforts and energy can be singularly concentrated on winning football games. Now, McAdoo twice had conversations with Beckham on the sidelines during Sunday's 29-27 loss to the Washington Redskins at MetLife Stadium. Now, Beckham was matched again. We talked about Josh Norman the whole game, majority of the whole game, and it's been the first meeting since their confrontation. McAdoo said on Monday on a conference call with reporters, quote, excuse me, Beckham needs to control his emotions better and become less of a distraction to himself and his teammates. It's our job to help him with that process and maturing, end quote. Now, Beckham has at least 5 known fines in less than 3 seasons and a suspension for his actions last year against Norman. McAdoo believes it's on him. It's on him, McAdoo, his coaches and Beckham's teammates to help focus these emotions in the proper direction. Now, he still had a great game. 7 catches on 11 targets, 121 yards. Pretty good. And he compared his emotions and how everything was going in that game to Russell Westbrook of the NBA of the Oklahoma City Thunder, saying, have you ever watched Russell Westbrook, play basketball? He plays with a lot of emotion or passion, whatever you want to call it. It's what's the best for some players, and it's what's not best for some players. You use it and just be smart. Play smart. It's football at the end of the day, end quote. But it's still become a distraction on how he's on the sidelines. Now, people are going to say, well, what about Des Bryant? He's always yelling, and people use that as negativity when he's actually, just pumping up his players, getting them hype. But McAdoo and quarterback Eli Manning each spent part of this past Sunday tending to Beckham on the sideline, trying to calm him down, trying to get him right. And that time could be utilized to looking at this thing right here, if I can pick it up. This thing, right? Looking at what's going on, the previous plays. They weren't able to do that. I'm not blaming Odell Beckham for the loss here. He did his job. 7 catches, 121 yards. There's not a lot of receivers that could do that right now. He did his job, but it is still a distraction. This is what he had to say at the end of the game.
Odell, were you in tears at one point in that game on the sideline?
I don't remember.
How'd you get the scratch in your face?
I don't remember.
Odell, when the first touchdown, Norman caught you like in the air. It looked like you faked, like you were getting the ball, and then he carried you about 5 or 6 steps. Were you surprised the referee did not call a flag on that?
I don't remember that.
When you say you don't remember, it's just because there's so much adrenaline going on that if so much happens, it's hard to even...
Yeah, I don't remember. We ran a play, and I went to block, and I guess I blocked too early. I was surprised they didn't throw me out the game then. I wouldn't have been surprised, actually.
Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson has a sprained MCL in his left knee, and his status for the team's Week 4 game against the New York Jets is uncertain. Now, Wilson was injured in the third quarter of Sunday's game against the San Francisco 49ers, and he even came out for a snap but then returned for 3 more plays to finish out the drive. At that time, the Seahawks were up 27-3, and they pulled him out of the game before the next possession. The team does have a bye week in week 5. Not this week, but next week. Meaning that sitting Wilson against the Jets would give him additional time to get healthy. Now, this is Wilson's second injury of the season, and he suffered a right high ankle sprain in week 1, but Carroll said that the injury is behind him now. Now, if Wilson plays against the Jets, he's going to wear a brace. And, I mean, not concerning, it's safe, but at the same time, do you want to do it? Do you want to risk it when you have a bye week next week? Now, they're not necessarily in a position where they could just lose this game, but now, Wilson has never missed a start in his 5-year career. And Sunday was the first time he even missed snaps because of an injury. Trevon Boykin, rookie out of TCU, filled in and completed 7 of 9 passes for 65 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. It was a bad pick, but it was a beautiful touchdown. So Boykin, and he played pretty well in the preseason. Again, not biased here. He played really well in the preseason. You give him time, you let him have this week of practice. I know he will at least keep the Seahawks in the game and enough to make some plays where they could potentially get this W. The Jets aren't the toughest team in the NFL right now. Definitely not. They could definitely win. Now, meanwhile, at running back, the team got some bad news about Thomas Rawls, who was inactive for Sunday's game. He's now going to be out a few weeks. And with Rawls sidelined, the Seahawks will start Christian Michael, who carried the ball 20 times for 106 yards against the 49ers. He did a good job. He did a really good job. So, I think the Seahawks should go ahead and just sit Russell, play it safe, or at least, you could, all right, maybe not sit him. Have him active, but go with Trevon Boykin. Let him get it. And if it gets too bad, then you could go ahead and throw Russell in there if for a chance to win the game. But if Boykin is in it the whole game, if he keeps the team in it, keep Boykin in. Let Russell sit, let him rest, and have that bye week to let Russell fully get ready and then have Russell take over the team again. That's what I do. Hopefully Trevon Boykin gets the start. That'd be awesome. Now, Adrian Peterson, this isn't like late, but the question is he done in Minnesota? Is he done with the Minnesota Vikings? Doctors on last Thursday morning successfully repaired the lateral meniscus in Adrian Peterson's right knee. According to Bleacher Report, unidentified sources, so take it with a grain of salt, within the organization say there were some who were privately upset with Adrian Peterson for choosing to have the surgery, which could have sidelined him, for much of the season, if not the whole season. Believing he could have played through the injury. For me, that's kind of a little selfish, but okay, cool. The report says that while the top of the organization remains supportive and would like to see Peterson in the next season under a new contract, the running back has alienated a few teammates, leaving his future in Minnesota in doubt. Now, next season, he's due to make $11.75 million plus a $6 million roster bonus due in March. The Minnesota Vikings want to restructure Adrian Peterson's contract. It's $18 million in 2017. And reportedly, he won't retain him if he fails to negotiate. If he refuses to negotiate a new contract, they will let him go. And Peterson, he kind of struggled to start off the 2016 year. 21. Can I talk? 31 carries and 50 yards. That was it. And according to what is his name here? Jason La Canfora of CBS Sports. He said, quote, "The Vikings are already transitioning into a more throwing team under Norv Turner." It sounds pretty familiar when you had a Hall of Fame running back, Adrian Peterson. Oh, also a guy named LaDainian Tomlinson. And they switched from more running to more passing. Yeah, sounds familiar. He continued, behind a porous line, throwing more screen passes and calling more outside runs for more nimble running back Jarek McKinnon, and actually helping to help the struggling running game. Some in the organization believe that's the way they'll go. End quote. So is Adrian Peterson done in Minnesota? It's tough to say, but I mean, there is more of a likelihood he is not playing for the Vikings in 2017 than there is of him playing. We'll see. Now, the Washington Redskins received official news Monday that they feared was coming. Safety D'Angelo Hall tore his ACL in his right knee and will miss the remainder of the season. It is the third straight injury-shortened season. He played only 3 games in 2014 thanks to an Achilles tear and was limited to 11 games last season as he recovered from that injury and also dealt with a knee issue. He turns 33 in November, and that might have been his last game in Washington. There's an injury bug going around in San Diego. The Chargers, for the third straight week, have lost a star player, a key member to that organization, back-to-back weeks. First, it was Keenan Allen. Torn ACL, done for the year. Great. Our best receiver, our only good receiver, gone. Next week, what's next? Oh, Danny Woodhead, one of our best running backs, our next biggest weapon on offense. Cool, take him out too. Torn ACL, done for the year. Week 3 against the Colts. What you got for us? Manti Te'o, the leader of the defense, middle linebacker, done for the year. Torn Achilles. Week 4 should be pretty exciting to see who we're going to lose this week. I mean, who's it going to be? Antonio Gates returns. You going to just take him out? Man, he's kind of already like halfway gone. Take him out with his leg or something. Turf toe again. I mean, good. Woo, man, it is bad. So he's gone. And the bad thing is he's in his final year of his rookie contract. And things haven't, he's getting better every year. The bad part is he hasn't played an entire season in his first 4 years of the league. And now he possibly heads into free agency, and with this management the San Diego Chargers have, which I absolutely disagree with, we might have seen the last bit of Manti Te'o in San Diego, which I completely disagree with. I think we should re-sign him, but I could easily see the Chargers saying, sorry, you're gone. Now, Te'o said after the game, everything happens for a reason. I live by the quote that says, God put mountains in front of you to show other people that it can be moved. My faith is strong, and I know I will be all right, end quote. I sure hope so. I believe it. I am with you, and I hope I'll be there. I mean, this is how bad it's got. Well, for Te'o, we'll talk about him real quick. He's 25 years old, still young. Missed 13 games in his first 3 years because of various foot and ankle injuries. There's something with it. He shed weight during the offseason so he could play faster and stay healthy during the regular season, but he has yet to finish a full 16-game season healthy as a pro. That's kind of his back. But he showed this season already in the first just 2.5 games that he's improved. He can be the leader of the defense. He can be the starting middle linebacker for the San Diego Chargers for years to come. It's the injury problem. Now, check this out. This is how bad the injury bug is in San Diego. Te'o is the third San Diego Charger to tear an Achilles. He's only the third to tear his Achilles this season. Not third overall injured. Third to tear his Achilles this season, joining running back Brandon Oliver, happened in the offseason, and tight end who was just signed in the offseason, Jeff Cumberland. Just like that. They already lost Danny Woodhead, like we talked about, Keenan Allen. Oh, also, we lost Stevie Johnson to a season-ending injury. I mean, we are on a roll, just the wrong way. It's bad. But Denzel Perryman, a rookie out of Miami, he's going to take over as a defensive play caller for the Chargers, while rookie, or actually, is he? I don't think he's a rookie. Never mind. Scratch that. He's not a rookie. Not anymore. 1 year. This is his first pro year. Now, Jatavius Brown, he did okay. He forced a fumble and got a sack in his time when he stepped up for the San Diego Chargers. He's going to replace Te'o. It's tough. We still have, is it Joshua Perry is the one we have, or is it the other one? I think it's Joshua Perry. I don't even know. Half this team gets injured. I don't even want to know their name, so I'm not upset when they get injured. It's tough being a Chargers fan. It really is. The Bears placed cornerback Kyle Fuller on injured reserve. He's gone. They signed former Detroit Lions running back Joique Bell. Let's see. Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett. They were both present for the start of Tuesday's practice, and the Patriots remain hopeful that at least one of them can play in the game in Sunday's home game against the Buffalo Bills. This will be the last game one of these two will play, at least for a while. as Tom Brady, excuse me, will be back on October 3rd next week against the Cleveland Browns. And the Patriots could be 4-0. We all thought, hey, if they're just 2-2, that's great. Maybe, they could possibly be 3-1, but most likely they're going to be 2-2 when Tom Brady comes back, and that's okay. Brady can get them out of the hole. If New England is 4-0, by the time Tom Brady, it doesn't matter. They'll be 3-1. When Tom Brady comes back, I mean, good gosh. They're the favorites. I mean, they are the favorites. Our last topic we will talk about, excuse me, before we wrap up the show and make our picks here and talk a little bit. We got one little tiny news of NBA action. If you were a head coach, general manager, team owner, wherever you want to put yourself, and you're starting a franchise, right? Who would you rather have as a rookie quarterback to lead that franchise for the future? Would it be Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott? Carson Wentz is the first rookie quarterback since Mark Sanchez in 2009 to start the season 3-0. Wentz is the only quarterback since the 1970 merger to start and win all of his team's first 3 games without throwing an interception. Now, Wentz and Prescott are NFL record setters as rookies already. I mean, they're the 2 highest numbers of passing attempts without an interception to start a career. Wentz is at 102, while leading the Eagles to, again, a 3-0 start. And Prescott's at 99. 99 passes. And when you look at Wentz, he's so calm. He's so poised in the pocket. When you watch him, it's like you're watching a 5-year vet take this offense. And you're not watching a rookie. Now, I'm not jumping on the Eagles bandwagon nor Carson Wentz, as my fellow coach, Coach Miller, thinks I should. But there's no denying that the Eagles are in a great spot and made a great choice. I mean, look how easily this could have been switched had the Rams selected Carson Wentz, and then Jared Goff would have gone to the Eagles. Almost didn't happen. But this, even though we want to see this matchup, Carson Wentz versus Dak Prescott, we want to see this happen. October 30th is when the Eagles and the Cowboys go at it for the first time. Carson Wentz, if healthy, will be the starter come October 30th. Dak Prescott, if healthy, could be on the bench. I don't like it. I don't agree. I told you my opinion that I believe that if I was a coach, if I was a manager, if I'm making the calls for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott is the starting quarterback until he loses the job or gets hurt. And by losing the job, he plays poorly back-to-back several weeks, and it's just bad. Or he gets hurt. I don't believe that Tony Romo should see the field in a Cowboys uniform again. It's Dak Prescott all the way. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but it's just common sense. To bring Romo in, if Dak is leading them to wins, and they only have 1 loss going into that October 30th matchup, and Tony Romo starts, that is a problem. That's a problem. And the thing is, the reason this matchup might not happen is because this would be Tony Romo's first game of the season coming off that back injury. That's the soonest he can come back. And it would be that matchup. Now, Prescott, let's talk about him for a little bit. He led scoring drives in all 4 of Dallas's possessions in the first half, throwing his first career touchdown past the fellow rookie Ezekiel, and also fellow rookie Ezekiel Elliott's first 100-yard game. The Cowboys obviously beat the Bears 31-17. Ended an 8-game home losing streak that nor Romo could win or any of the other backups. In his second straight win, Prescott doubled the number of victories the Cowboys had in 14 games without injured Romo over the 3 seasons before the 4th rounder pick showed up. They're 2-1. He's already doubled the victories. But many in Dallas's front office believe that when Romo's ready, Romo's playing. He broke a bone in his back in preseason, and Dallas' first game against division-leading Eagles is a likely return date. Prescott's performance is forcing Jerry Jones to confront a question he has zero interest in answering. Is there any way Tony Romo doesn't start when he's healthy? For now, the answer is no. As long as Jason Garrett's the head coach, it's Tony Romo's team all the way through. You could be how many games up by then? They could just have that 1 loss when they play the Eagles, and Dak Prescott is sitting. 3 starts, Prescott's completed 66 of 99 passes, 767 yards, a touchdown, and Philadelphia's Carson Wentz are the 2 quarterbacks to start 3 games, 0 turnovers. I mean, it's incredible. Now, we have a long time till this matchup. October 30th, that's a month and 2 days away, depending on when you're watching this. It's Wednesday, September 28th. It's a month and 2 days away from when this game happens. So, who would you rather have right now? Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz? I'm taking Dak just because of his athleticism. I know he doesn't have the touchdowns as Carson Wentz does, and I know Carson Wentz is more that pro-style quarterback. I'm taking Dak because the upside of him, where he can go, his ceiling is high. That's all we can say. And Dak has shown the poise in the pocket as well. But both of these guys, I hope we see this matchup. I hope we see Dak Prescott versus Carson Wentz, October 30th. Those 2 going at it on the field. Starting. I want to see that. I think everybody wants to see it. Romo, I liked him, but he's done. He's done. There's should be no way he starts. Unless, again, Dak Prescott plays poorly until then or gets hurt. There should be no way Tony Romo starts. Let me know in the comment section down below. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. Let's go ahead and do our predictions and wrap up the show. We got, again, one little tiny story on the NBA, and then we'll talk about what's going to be happening. Dolphins and Bengals go at it on NFL Network, not CBS. NFL Network Thursday Night Football at 7:25 p.m. Central Time. I'm taking the Bengals here. Colts and Jaguars, 8:30 a.m. Central Time on Sunday on CBS, as it is in Wembley Stadium in London. I am taking the Colts here. I want to take the Jaguars, but man, they just defensively they've looked so bad, so bad. Titans against the Texans, even though they don't have J.J. Watt, I'm taking the Texans here. 12 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Browns versus Washington, going with Washington. Seahawks versus the Jets, going with the Seahawks. Bills versus Patriots, going with the Patriots. Panthers versus Falcons, going with the Panthers. Raiders versus Ravens, going with the Raiders. Lions versus Bears, going with the Bears. No, let's go with the Lions. Broncos versus the Buccaneers at 3:05 p.m. Central Time, going with the Broncos. Rams versus Cardinals at 3:25 p.m. Central Time, going with the Cardinals. Saints and the Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers just because how bad the Saints defense is. We actually have a chance. But again, we're going to lose a starting player anyways. We could lose Phillip Rivers. There goes our season for sure. Who cares? God, it's just so bad. The Cowboys and the 49ers, going with the Cowboys. Every time I'm about to pick a team, I'm trying to say the team I want to pick, but the other team comes out. Like I almost said 49ers. Chiefs versus the Steelers, 7:30 p.m. Central Time on NBC Sunday Night Football. Going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. The defense is legit. Defense is very good. So I'm going with the Chiefs even though they're on the road. Monday Night Football, the Giants and the Vikings, 7:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Should be a really good one. Vikings, I believe, have the best defense in the National Football League. Giants have a pretty good offense. Should be a good game. I love that stadium in Minnesota. It's a beautiful, beautiful stadium. I'm going to go with the Vikings here, though. I am actually going to take the Vikings here. I want to go with the Giants, but I'm taking the Vikings here. I think they just have it. The home crowd, the defense, giving them enough time. Sam Bradford, could you believe it? Leading this team to be 4-0? I wouldn't bet that much money. I wouldn't bet any money. You would have asked me, I would never bet money that Bradford would. Actually, I might have bet money the opposite, that he would not be 4-0. I would have been like, oh, yeah, sure bet. Yeah. That's why I don't bet, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I don't bet. NBA news. Could Stephen Curry, leave the Golden State Warriors in 2017? He indicated Tuesday that he'll likely re-sign with Golden State Warriors after this season. Now, Curry re-signing would be in contrast to decisions made by the two most recent star-studded free agents and recent MVPs as well, Kevin Durant and LeBron James. Both went elsewhere when their rookie extensions expired. Obviously, LeBron went to Miami, and then before going back to Cleveland, and then Kevin Durant obviously left Oklahoma City for Golden State. Now, asked whether he'll consult with Durant on contract matters at the end of the season, or this season, Curry said, quote, maybe, but I'm not going to let it distract me at all, end quote. Now, Curry will earn more than $12 million this season. A lot of money, but not a lot of money compared to his other teammates. He's going to make less than 3 other teammates. Obviously, Kevin Durant, he's going to make $26.5 million. Klay Thompson's making $16.6 million. And Draymond Green is going to make $15.3 million. All pretty deserving, not taking anything away from those guys. Now, the Warriors intend to make up some of that difference this summer. Depending on where the salary cap falls, Curry's new deal should put him in excess of $30 million per season. Now, Curry said he hopes his contract status won't be an ongoing storyline this season, and he said it perfectly with this quote. Quote, I hope not, because we'll worry about that in the summer. My answer is not going to be any different at all this year. So keep asking me, and I won't have a different one, end quote. I like it. Good quote. Good quote. Great way to put it. I don't see Curry leaving the Warriors. I don't see it happening. I don't know. We probably all said that about LeBron James. I don't know. I think we all kind of knew LeBron James was going to leave just because that organization failed to add other pieces to the puzzle. So I think we kind of knew LeBron James was going to leave. Kevin Durant, I think we all kind of knew he was going to leave too. So Curry, though, I don't think he's going to leave. I mean, he's already making a ton of money, both in his salary and with endorsements. Does he really need to get paid up there in the $30 million? He still will, but again, you got to look at it. How much do you want to make? All right, I'll say it this way. If I'm Curry, I want, depending on one of those, $20 million. Give me $20 million a year. That way, you get a bump from your $12 million. You're still getting paid really well, and compared to where you could have been, you still have some money left over for the team to continue to add coaches, players, whatever it is, to win a championship. I mean, what is $20 million? What is $30 million going to buy you that $20 million couldn't? In all honesty, after taxes, don't say, well, it's going to buy you 10 more houses. No, I want to know, what is $30 million going to buy you that $20 million can't? That you absolutely need. Your kids are going to school wherever they want to. College is paid for. You have a nice home. You can have as many cars as you want. You have a nice house. You can get a boat. What else do you really need? I want championships. I want to be remembered by winning championships and not how much money I made on the court. That's just me. That's just me. I also have never made $1 million, so maybe that changes you. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you see Steph Curry leaving the Warriors after the 2016-2017 season, or do you think he remains a Golden State Warrior for life? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, tweet me at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show, and I will see you guys next week. That is it for today's show, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hour 15 minutes, honestly, it's a good spot. I thought we were going to be up there near 2 hours just because we had so much to talk about. But we did a good job. We did a good job. Again, check out Inner Grind, check out Sleeps, check out Tongue FM. All great sponsors of the Short Sports Show. Again, without them and without you guys, none of this is possible. I appreciate so much of the support. It's been awesome. We will be getting in the NBA action here soon. Again, I signed a contract with the NBA through Broadband TV, and because of that, we'll be able to get merchandise. And the most important thing, I will be able to make content of NBA action, actually having highlights that won't get copyrighted or anything. I'll be having highlights as well as actually going to NBA games. Most of them going to be the San Antonio Spurs, but you never know. If we do it successfully, we do it right, and we get this going, people start sharing through social media and liking, there's a good chance we could start going to some of the major games, like when Cleveland goes and plays Golden State, and when Kevin Durant goes back to visit Oklahoma City. I already got all these things written down. I haven't marked down the calendar when these things could happen, and I want to be able to go. But at the same time, I need you guys' support, and you guys have been doing that so far. So, again, thank you so much. As always, God first, God bless, and I will see you guys next Wednesday morning. As always, I'm out. Peace!